All right. We are doing review for algebra. This is exam 2. It's tomorrow. Let's get started. There's a section on your test that is identifying the type of equations, and I think this is probably one of the easiest sections on the test, so you don't want to miss those. With this, let me go over the type of equations that you're going to be asked to identify. So the first one is standard, and that is ax plus by equals c. The second one is slope-intercept, and that is the y equals mx plus b. And it's pretty handily named that because you can see the slope and the y-intercept, so super creative. The last one is point slope, and that is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where, you guys always know that m is your slope, and in this guy, there's your point. So point slope. So those are the three that you're expected to know, and those are the three that you're expected to be able to identify and to use and to convert one form to the other. So using that for these, all you need to do is be able to look and see which one's which. So this guy here is point slope. The second one is slope-intercept. Third one is also slope-intercept. And your last one is standard. Don't miss these tomorrow on the test. Easy free points for you guys. All right. Number 2, identify the equations that are parallel. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. Parallel. You got to remember, parallel means same slope. Okay? We're not looking at anything else other than the slope. So we want equations that are parallel to -2. That's what we're looking for there. In some of these, it's going to be easier to look at and just find right away. Like if you're in slope-intercept, like up here, or in point slope, you can see the slopes right away. It's only standard form, like this one right here, that's in standard form, that you need to move around. So let's do the easy ones first. Which ones have a slope of -2? This guy does. Let's skip this one for now. This one does not, has a slope of -1/2. This one is almost in y equals mx plus b form, but we don't really care about that because that's the y-intercept. So this guy is good to go. And this one right here, I had a lot of questions on equations that look like this in my class. This equation is in slope-intercept form. It just means that the y-intercept is 0. So this guy right here has a -2 slope as well. For this one, we need to convert that. That's probably the easiest way, is to move this into y equals mx plus b form. So let's do that. Okay. To do that, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. And I'm going to get 2y equals -4x plus 16. I'm one step closer to slope-intercept form. I need to divide everything out by 2 so I can get y by itself. And that gives me y equals -2x plus 8. It does have the same slope, so that guy is parallel as well. Perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular slopes. You're looking again at the slopes, and you need opposite. Okay, and opposite has to do with the sign, plus and minus, negative, positive, and the reciprocal. Okay, so the reciprocal, I know a lot of you guys just like to call it the flip of the whatever the number is. That's fine, but the actual word is reciprocal. So we just need to look at all these. We're just looking at the slopes. And again, for this one, and this one, I can see the slopes right away. I have 1/8, 1/8, negative 1/8, or 1/8. It might be easier for you guys to do slope that way. These guys, I need to put into y equals mx plus b form. I'm going to do that first so that I can see what I'm working with around here and then figure out which lines are perpendicular. Remember, I'm looking for an opposite and a reciprocal. None of these guys are any of that. These two lines are actually parallel because they have the same slope. And then these guys are nothing. They just are going to cross. So let's do this one first. This one's the easier one. Subtract 8x to both sides, and I get y equals negative 8x plus 8. Okay, so I've got negative 8 right there for my slope. Let's do this one. And let me put him over here. So I've got 2y equals 8x plus 16. I'm just going to add 8x. That's what I did there. Okay, I'm going to move them over here. Divide everything by 2. And y is equal to 4x plus 8. Okay, remember, you can't look at it right here. It doesn't count in standard form. That's not your slope. So make sure you put it into y equals mx plus b form. So my slope right here is 4. All right, let's figure out what we got here. This 4, definitely out. So this equation has nothing to do with anything perpendicular. We're looking for two equations where their slopes have their opposites, so one positive, one negative, and they're reciprocals to each other. So let's take this negative 8. The reciprocal would be 1/8, and the opposite would be positive. So we're looking for a positive 1/8. So actually, these two equations are perpendicular to this one. So you have this one and this one are perpendicular, okay? And then I'm just gonna square. This one and this one are perpendicular. And then actually these guys are parallel. Okay, so perpendicular, you're looking for the opposite and the reciprocal. I'm gonna add that to my little note sheet right here so you guys can see it. All right, parallel slopes or parallel, you're looking for the same slope. Perpendicular, you're looking for opposite, again, which is your negative positive, and the reciprocal, which is the flip. Okay. And in case I do it, sometimes I don't think about when I do it, symbols for parallel look like that. The symbols for perpendicular look like that. Sometimes I just throw it in there and I don't realize I'm doing it, but that's the symbols for those. Okay. Let's get to 4. Writing these in standard form. Okay, basically, you're just manipulating the equation to make it look like that. There's our goal. We want it to look like that. Okay, I'm going to move this over here so I have some more space. In order to do this, I'm going to distribute that first. So that's going to give me y minus 5 equals 2x minus 2. I'm close. All right, I need this x over here. I need this guy over here. So let me just move this guy here. That's going to give me y equals 2x plus 3. All right, I've just gone from point slope to slope intercept. Do the y-intercepts affect whether they're parallel and perpendicular? No, they don't. The y-intercepts have no bearing on parallel perpendicular. It's only the slope. Okay, so we're here. I need it to look like that, which means that this guy's got to come over here, subtract 2x. So I have negative 2x plus y equals 3. All right. That's standard form. However, I don't like that negative in front there. Okay. If your teacher told you that they would take it like that, not a problem. That's all good. But I would expect you to get rid of that negative. And the way you get rid of that negative is just multiply everything by a negative 1. So that would give me 2x minus y equals negative 3. You basically just change all the signs to get rid of that negative. And now you're in standard form. The second one's way easier. All you have to do is add the 4x. And then that looks like that. Okay, so again, you're not really doing anything, you're not solving anything, you're just moving stuff around to make it look like one or the other. All right, go second page. All right, this guy, I'm gonna grab a piece of graph paper for this. All right, my equation is 5x minus 2y equals 10. That's in standard form. When they're asking for the x and y intercepts, I always think in this form it's the easiest to find the x and y intercepts. Let me move that down so you guys can see that. Because you can just substitute. I can cover up that, get that one. So let me just put it here so I have more space I can show you guys. To find the x-intercept, you make y equals 0. So I'm just going to plug in 0 right there. It's going to make that whole thing go away. Okay? If you don't see that, let me just show you. I'm going to find an x-intercept. Okay? And to find the x-intercept, I make y equal to 0. So here, let me just show you this the long way, because you don't see it. Okay? 5x, I get negative 2 times 0 is just 0. So that just goes away. It's equal to 10. Divide both sides by 5. X equals 2. Okay, so my x-intercept is 2, 0. Okay, right here, 2, 0. Right, my y-intercept, I'm going to do the same. For my y-intercept, I'm going to make x equal to 0. So I'm going to get negative 2y equals 10. Y equals negative 5. My y-intercept is 0, negative 5. All right, identify the slope. Easiest thing to do would be to put that into slope-intercept form. So let's do that. And I need to write it in slope-intercept form anyway. So we'll do it anyway. So 5x minus 2y equals 10. Let's put that into slope-intercept. That needs to look like this. So move that over. That gives me negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 10. Divide both sides by, or divide everything by a negative 2. And I get y is equal to positive 5 over 2x minus 5. Okay. Hopefully you check your work because your y-intercept here should be the same as your y-intercept here. Okay. There it is in slope-intercept. It wants to know what the slope is. The slope is 5/2. So m is equal to 5 over 2. Slope-intercept right there. There's your slope. You got your y-intercept, your x-intercept. What's next? Graph and label. All right, graph and label, here we go. So let's get this real quick. Let me draw this out for you guys. On your test tomorrow, you will not have to draw an axis on here. Your test will have everything. All right. I'm going to start with my y-intercept. My y-intercept's at negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 5. My slope is positive 5 over 2. I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. There's my other one. And connect the dots. Okay, couple things. You could have graphed it from just this. You could have plotted your x-intercept, your y-intercept, and then just plotted those two, connect the dots. It would have been the same either way. Just label that for you guys. When it says to graph and label, it actually wants you to label your points. So make sure tomorrow when you read your directions, you label your points. This guy right here is 2, 0. This guy right here is 0, negative 5. So if it asks you to label, that's what it's asking you to do. Make sure you put your points in. It wants to know, is 2, 0 on the line? Okay. You can tell just by looking at it, or you can do the math. Sometimes you're going to have to do the math. You won't have an option. You'll have to do it because you won't be able to see it. But in this case, is 2, 0 on the line? Yeah, it is. It's a point I already labeled. So for this guy right here, yes, it's on the line. 2 zeros already on the line. They want to know what f of negative 6 is. So function notation, f of negative 6. All right, negative 6 is over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't really know what that equals. It's all the way down here someplace, but I can plug it in. So let's use our equation. Okay, we can use any of the equations we had. Remember, this is the same equation. That's in slope-intercept. That's in standard. Doesn't matter which one you use. We are looking for f of negative 6. Okay, that's what we want. We want f of negative 6. So we want to know what happens when x is equal to negative 6. When x is equal to negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's negative 6. Hopefully, when we plug it in, we get a negative number. We should end up somewhere down here. Okay, so think about it logically as well. Before you even start substituting, before you start putting anything and trying to figure out what your y is going to be, figure out if your answer makes sense. F of negative 6 is this way. My line is coming down this way. My answer better be negative. Hopefully it'll be negative. If it's not, then maybe you need to rework your math or look at something different. Okay, so I'm going to take the standard equation, which was the 5x minus 2y equals 10. It doesn't matter which one you use. I'm going to use that one because there's no fractions in it, even though these numbers are pretty easy, but I know most of you guys don't like fractions. So I'm going to plug this in. That's x. I have 5 times negative 6 minus 2y equals 10. I'm just solving an equation. Negative 30 minus 2y equals 10. Add 30 to both sides. Missed that one. Negative 2y equals 40. Divide both sides by negative 2. Y is equal to 20. Negative 20. Okay? Y is equal to negative 20. My answer makes sense. It's negative. It needs to be down here. F of negative 6 is equal to negative 20. All right? That's what that's asking. All right. Find the slope. This type of question is going to be on your exam. It's just going to say which ones, or like which ones all have the slope of whatever, 3 or 4, whatever number they pick. All right, you have to be able to look at this. Some of these require no math. You can just look and see the slope. Others of them, you need an equation. It just depends on how quick you are. This one you need to convert. Let's look at the ones that require no math. All right, this guy right here is in point slope form. My slope is already there. It's right there. Okay, my slope for this one is 1/2. No math. Okay, this guy right here, my slope's already there. It's in slope-intercept form. My slope is equal to 3. Okay. This guy requires you to use the slope formula. The slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to label my points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and then just plug them in. Gives me 5 minus 1 over negative 2 minus 6 equals 4 over negative 8. Careful with your signs. Which gives me negative 1/2. Okay. So this guy right here, m is equal to negative 1/2. All right. Depending on what the question is asking, you may or may not want to reduce. So in this case, I'm just asking you to find the slope. So I didn't need to reduce. If I left it like this, it would be okay. If I asked you to find all the slopes that are the same as 1/2 or negative 1/2, you would need to recognize that that number could be reduced to negative 1/2. So just careful with that. Okay. This guy right here, it's in function notation. It looks super scary. It's not. This is just your x and your y in a fancy way. There is your x1 and your y1. your x2, and your y2. So again, plug and chug. 6 minus 5, y2 minus y1, all over 0 minus 2 gets me negative 1 over 2. Hey, look at that. They came out the same. I didn't even mean for that to happen. Okay. This one right here, I like that guy. Guy's a little tricky. We'll come back to that one. Let's do this one. Put them into y equals mx plus b. 2x minus 4y equals 8. Negative 4y equals negative 2x plus 8. Divide everything by a negative 4. And you're going to get y equals positive 1/2 x plus 2. Not interested in the y-intercept, doesn't matter. It's only asking me to find the slope. My slope there is 1/2. Okay, this guy right here, kind of a tricky question. I'm gonna take out a graph for you guys so you guys can see that real quick. X equals 1. You need to be able to graph these on your exam tomorrow, just so you guys are aware. So just draw a quick little axis here for you guys. Okay, x equals 1. This is where x equals 1, right here. Okay, and x will always equal 1 on this line. Okay, there's the line of x equals 1. Okay, that has an undefined slope. Goes up and down, has an undefined slope. So this guy right here, his slope is undefined. I don't think there's one like that on your test. I just threw it in there just for fun. Back to this graphing thing though, however, you have to be able to graph these. Like if I have y equals negative 3, okay? Where does y equal negative 3? Y equals negative 3 right here. So your graph needs to look like this. That's where y equals negative 3 right there. Okay, that guy right there has a 0 slope. This one right here, undefined. Okay, like I said, that was kind of a trick question. Okay, there are questions like this on your test tomorrow in the form of true and false. Gives you 2 points, asks you to determine things are true and false. Try to look at it and see what kind of stuff is given to you before you get all crazy and start freaking out. So first thing it wants to know, true or false, the slope is negative 3 over 4. Okay, well, before I even look at that and try to make this my x1, y1, x2, y2, I'm going to know right off the bat that that's false. Okay, I know that's false right off the bat because that line is positive. That line has a positive slope. So I can tell just by looking at the direction of the line that that can't be true. Okay, my x-intercept at 1, 0, yeah, it's labeled for me. Thanks. That guy's true. No math. My y-intercept at negative 1. No, it's missing negative 1. Now, if you wanted to be 100% sure, you could plug it in, find the slope, and look at it, but no, it's not. F of 4 equals negative 5. F of 4 equals negative 5. Okay, so again, before you do any math and you start plugging things in, that means when x is 4, y is equal to negative 5. When x is 4, so I got 1, 2, 3, somewhere around here. Here's like where x is, well, that's 5 right there, but x is equal to 4 somewhere around here. Can y equal negative 5? Is my line down here? No, that's not going to work. That's false. Is 5, 3 on the line? Okay, I didn't give you an equation to plug it into, but I did tell you right there that 5, 3 is on that line. So yeah, that guy right there is true, right? I did 0 math. I didn't find a slope. I didn't calculate. I didn't find an equation. I did nothing but use the graph to figure it out. So make sure you guys are using these things to help you out. The SBAC is like this a lot. Okay, it's not always about solving something. It's just being able to look at something and use a little bit of critical thinking. That can't be negative. Okay, this cannot possibly work. If this is where my x is 4, my line is not down here. So again, a lot of little critical thinking things. All right. The only thing I did not put on here that is on your exam are graphing. So the graphing ones, I gave my class some examples, but you're going to have to graph a line in 3 different forms. And again, it doesn't matter. So you might have to graph a line y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Graph a line in slope intercept. Switch colors. Y equals, all right, let's do it this way. Y minus 2 equals 4 times x minus 1. Graph a line in point slope. And then graph a line in standard. All right, so I'll give you all 3 of those different forms. You have to graph them. Whichever way you want to graph them is fine. This one, I would just do, start at 2, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. I can do these for you real quick, in case you guys want to see them. All right, let me just draw a big old. This right here, and I think I can probably graph all these on 1. All right, so this first one, y equals 1/2 x plus 2. I'm going to start at 2, and I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Here's this guy right here for me. Okay, so this guy right here is y equals 1/2 x plus 2. This one, I'm going to put this one into slope intercept form. Y minus 2 equals, I'm going to distribute that, 4x minus 4. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. That's going to give me y equals 4x minus 2. So now I can graph that very easily. Start at negative 2, go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1. There's that second graph. That's the point slope graph, which was this one. Y equals 4x minus 2. And then the last one right here, 3x plus 2y equals 6. You can put that in y equals mx plus b form. You can just find the x and then the y-intercept, whichever way is easiest for you. Those are both, fine either way. I think my class likes to always just put it in y equals mx plus b form, so I'll do it that way. 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 6. Divide everything by 2. Y is equal to negative 3/2 x plus 3. So I'm going to start at 3, and I'm going to go down 3 over 2. And just in case you wanted to do it the other way, 3x plus 2y equals 6, and you wanted to do it where you just find the x and the y-intercepts. 3x is equal to 6. X is equal to 2, so my x-intercept is 2, 0. So it's right there. 2y is equal to 6, y is equal to 3. My y-intercept is 0, 3. It was right there. So again, depending on which way you like, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same results. It also gives you an opportunity to check your work. All right, so tomorrow's exam is a little lengthy, but I don't see why you guys should not be able to handle that. There are multiple questions like this where there are multiple parts. I'm going to clean one out here. So again, we've got identifying the type of equation, easy 4 points on your exam. Equations that are parallel, looking for same slope. Equations that are perpendicular. You're looking for opposite and reciprocal slopes. Okay, that's for perpendicular. Standard form, gave it to you right there. I think on tomorrow's test it gives it to you also. I think we're being a little nice. There is a question like this on your exam where you're given an equation in standard form and you need to find all of these things. Oh, there is something on there where it says, like if it's on the line, I think it says justify. Okay, it's like justify is like explaining, but in math you can just show your work. Okay, it's another name for like show your work. Mathematically you can explain it. Finding the slope, and then being able to use a graph and determine what goes where. Tomorrow, if you need tutoring before school, you have first period math. If you have it with me, you're all good. We'll review a little bit if you have me first period. If not, Finch and Mr. Chong are always there super early in the morning. So you can get them for tutoring in the morning. So tutoring at 7:30-ish if you need. If you have it period 3 or 4, you can come find me at lunch. I will be in 157 if you need any help at lunch. So for tutoring. All right. If you guys are good luck tomorrow, and study a little bit more if you need. If you need an extra review sheet, I have another one that I scanned. Just shoot me an email and I can send it to you. And if not, room numbers for Chong and Finch. Finch is 107. Chong is 24. I'll be in 109 before school. So that's my classroom, but at lunch I'll be in 157 if you need anything. So again, if you need that other review sheet, it's a lot. It's kind of extensive. I have it scanned. I can send it to you. If you're in my class, you already have it. So yeah, if you want, you can send me an email. Here's my email. If you guys need it, just put it on this side. TLT4761 at lausd.net. Okay, so send me an email if you want that other review sheet. Like I said, I can send that to you guys. I don't know if you guys actually need the extra practice. Don't want to overdo it either. Good luck. Talk to you guys tomorrow.